In this video, we're going to modify the demo Hello app found at developers.urbit.org and make a new tile that provides a link to our web app. When we click on the tile, we will be redirected and logged into our web app using our Urbit ID. Let's start with the web app and the modifications that are needed to work with Urbit. LIMS Nucleus is a web app that is part of a larger laboratory information management system. It manages multi-well plates and the samples within those plates. LIMS Nucleus has the ability to manage its own users. A regular user is presented with the login page. Let me log in as an administrator. As an administrator, I have access to the utilities. If I look at the current users, you can see that I have whitelisted two Urbit IDs, Zod as an administrator and Nus as a user. I whitelist these IDs by adding them without a password. An Urbit user that is clicking on the LIMS Nucleus tile in landscape has already provided their Urbit credentials, and so a password within LIMS Nucleus is not needed. I have a separate handler for Urbit users. Regular users are presented with the login page. For Urbit users, I have an Urbit controller that accepts a name variable. The name has to be a whitelisted Urbit ID. Any other text will lead to an error page. Note that when I submit the Urbit controller, because Zod is in my whitelist, I am immediately sent to the project page, bypassing login. Because Zod is an administrator, I can look at the utilities and see that I have a session where Zod is the user. So now all modifications to the database will be recorded using the session ID identifying Zod as the user. So the behavior you need to be able to provide to your web app is the ability to whitelist Urbit IDs so that they can bypass the login requirements. We are going to modify the Hello app found at developer.urbit.com. It's under software distribution. As of March 2023, these directions are out of date. In particular, the Zeus version is wrong. The desks to be merged are not correct, and you don't need the LFS pull. I've modified the directions at labsolutions.com. Go to the Urbit page, which you can find a tag under the tags. Here I indicate the correct desks to pull, but if you scroll down, you will find a git clone where you can clone a repository that contains the merged desks as well as the glob files that are needed. You can then modify those to suit your needs. The Hello app places a tile in landscape, and when you click on it, it will present you with some text and the picture of a vase. We will edit this app to produce the LIMS Nucleus tile such that when we click on the LIMS Nucleus tile, it will transfer us to the projects page of LIMS Nucleus, bypassing login. So I've talked about my web app, which is running out in the cloud on Amazon Web Services. This app is accessible via a URL. Next, I'm going to talk about setting up a separate instance on Amazon where I will install my fake Zod. It is into this Zod that I will install my LIMS Nucleus desk following the protocol on labsolutions.com. I will also enable that Zod to transmit that desk to other Urbit users. So we'll set up a fake NUS and pull our LIMS Nucleus desk directly from Zod. It is this Zod that will be serving my landscape, providing me with the LIMS Nucleus tile. When I click on the tile, I will be redirected to my web server and working with LIMS Nucleus in my browser. So here I am on Amazon Web Services. If I look at FS tab, you can see the line that I added. Do not change other lines in the file. So I'm ready now to download the Urbit executable. So here is Urbit, and I can set up my fake Zod. So this will take about 5 to 10 minutes to run. The command for pulling down Urbit is at urbit.org, getting started, command line install. Scroll down to section 2 and you'll find the commands for various architectures right here. So my Zod has completed. Now I want to make a new desk called LIMSN. And I want to mount it. Get out of the dojo. So I have my fake Zod here, and I can look in it and see that the LIMSN directory is in there. I want to remove the entire directory, and I'm going to replace it with my Git repository. So this contains all of the files I need as well as the glob. I need to get rid of the glob because the desk will not compile with the glob in it. So I'll just move it to the top level. Now I can start up Zod. Commit my desk. And install it. I have navigated to my temporary IP on Amazon EC2 port 8080. I can enter my code that I just grabbed. And I should see landscape and my LIMS Nucleus is installing. The install will not complete until I provide the glob. Remember, I moved the glob to the top level of my directory on Amazon. Now I can use SCP to transfer it to my local computer. The glob provides HTML, JavaScript, and images that your tile might need. Here's a comparison of the Hello World index.html compared to my limbs nucleus index.html. If you recall, when we clicked on the Hello World tile, we saw the text Hello World and an image of a pot that is presented here by the image tag. For limbs nucleus, my body is empty. I'm not interested in presenting index HTML to the user. I want to redirect them to my web app. So I use JavaScript to redirect and provide the Urbit ID to the web app. The Urbit ID I get from this variable, which is provided by the Urbit HTTP API. So I load that JavaScript here. You can read about the HTTP API at developers.urbit.org. Here's the link, and if you go towards the end of this page to the example, you can see the script tags that I used, as well as use of the window ship variable. To load the glob, I go to docket, upload, select my desk, which is limsn, browse and select the glob directory, and then glob. So now if I go back to landscape, I will see that my limbs nucleus tile is now installed and ready to go. If I click on it, we are transferred to the project page, bypassing the login page. Back at my fake Zod, I want to publish the limbs nucleus desk so that other Urbit users can install it. I do it with the treaty publish command. Let me kill Zod and show you the directory structure. Notice that I've installed a fake NUS. Let's start up NUS. Notice that it's running on port 8081. Here I am at port 80. So this is Zod, has my limbs nucleus tile. Now I'm at port 81. So this is NUS. I have no limbs nucleus tile. So my fake ships cannot talk or see the Urbit network, but because they're on the same machine, they can talk to each other. I can search for software that is being offered by Zod and see that limbs nucleus is an option. I can click and get that app. And now the app is available. If I click on it, I am over to limbs nucleus. NUS cannot use the utilities feature because NUS is a regular user, not an admin. So I've shown you how you can take a small step towards introducing Urbit into your organization. Here I'm making use of the Urbit IDs for verification and assignment of permissions, and I also use the Urbit desk distribution mechanism to distribute a hyperlink plus the Urbit ID. Essentially, I'm providing users with a convenience bookmark. It was pretty easy. No hoon coding is involved. However, you need access to the source code of your web app so that you can whitelist Urbit IDs. If you have any questions, you can direct message me on Urbit at Poctorbidbis. If you have questions as to the suitability of LIMS nucleus for your process, contact us at info@labsolutions.com.